Oh my goodness. We are so close to inbound, everybody. Chris, how are you doing, my man? I can't wait to see you next week. It's gonna be such a good time. I need to update the stream title because this is the stream title from last week. July product updates. We already did this. Give me a second here. What's up, my man? I gotta get you on here. Chris, do you have Discord? It's gonna be a wild time. Hold on, I gotta change this. So what's today's date? 8:30. Happily hours. Pre-inbound edition. Definitely gonna talk about inbound is on the horizon. Yeah, big time comments being it is a huge delay. It's crazy. Oh, you don't have Discord? Don't worry about it. It's a pain in the butt to set up. It's annoying, but get it. And then next time we do one of these I'll show you how to do it, and you can pop on and we can hang out together. It'd be sick. Let's see what inbound's on the horizon. New record customization, exploration. We'll just do it. New record customization updates. We're gonna hit those. Maybe react to some new HubSpot content. Bring your questions. I might have answers. Peace and love. All right. Can I update all of them? 8:30, happily hours. Pre-out, yeah. A very happily hour. Pre-inbound edition. August 30th. Chris, can you hear me okay? Everything sound good? Is music too crazy? I don't know, it's a little loud in my ears. I could turn that down just a scotch. Here we go. All right. Guys, if you're hopping in, I basically am committing to going live every single week. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any queries, if you have any conundrums with HubSpot, with inbound strategy stuff, I guess maybe RevOps, if that's what we're calling it these days. Everyone has a different definition for it, so I'm not gonna act like I know what it is. But hey, I'm here to help. If you guys don't know me, my name is Max. I'm a chief evangelist over at this company called Hapily. Oh, I should probably like share out that I'm actually live here. We're live on YouTube, on the Hapily YouTube channel. So go subscribe to the Hapily YouTube channel. I could probably grab the link. Maybe I should do that. But we're live on YouTube and we're live on LinkedIn, obviously. Oh, don't want to double up my audio here. Can I kill this? Yep. If you want to watch live over on YouTube, I'll go ahead and pop a link. Is this chat thing is not working for me, dude. Slim, how are ya? Why is this not doing what it's supposed to do? Docs, chat, reload, restream. Hey, there we go. Now I can see everybody. Nice. Oh, nice. Chris, you got, okay, you got Discord. Okay, hold on. you can go through this with me together, because I can't think of anyone else I'd rather nerd out on some record customization with. So Chris, give me a second. I'm going to send you, let me get my Discord open, and we can even like go through some of this stuff together. That'd be super tight. Let me get into here, and let me get this little invite link going. And then Chris, on Slack, I'm sending you a link to Discord. Oh man, sounds like, I don't know if Slack's gonna like that, but there it is. Okay, so Chris, once you get in there, just go into the waiting room thing on the left. What's up, Stuart? It is a happily hour. Try to do these every Wednesday. Honestly, what I should be doing is I should be creating LinkedIn events for them, because otherwise the reach is pretty crap. But like, creating a LinkedIn event is a pain in the butt. I'd rather just hit the go live button. But I mean, if more people want me to do these, then I probably should start making events for them. But I'm at least staying consistent. I've done it every Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays in a row. So I'm getting there. Oh man. All right, Chris, you're in there. So Chris, click on the waiting room thing on the left. There we go. Now I'm gonna drag you in. Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, dude? Yes, I can hear you. If you wanna go on, oh wait, so if you're using Streamlabs, you should be able to use a feature called Collab Cam, bring it again. Yeah, I was using Streamlabs, and then I switched to OBS Studio, and I like it so much more. Oh, wait, Chris, what you wrote in the Discord shows up in the chat too. Probably because I have that set up there. Awesome. Anyway, Chris, do you want to go on camera or no? Because I do have like a dual screen thing. You do? Okay, sweet. Yeah, go. Let's see. So if you turn your camera on, I'm testing this out for the first time. So this might go great. It might not, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, it's trying to load.
Yeah, Stuart, I agree. It is, dude. The LinkedIn live event stuff is so great. Oh, there you are. Okay, hold on. All right, let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna bring up my dual screen that I have here, and I am going to add a let's see, add a window capture, probably. Yes. Discord, sure. Okay, yep. There you are. Sorry, doing it all live. Let's see. Okay, so now I need to take you and I need to put you in the guest frame. Oh, that didn't work right. Hold on. Max's face cam. Yeah, you're kind of in there. Oh wait, I have another way of doing this. Why don't I just put you on the top here, and then if I just make this smaller, get you right to where you're just about that right size there, and then I will just crop. Oh, it's almost perfect. You know what? We're gonna settle for almost perfect because everyone can see you in there now. And then let me just make sure you got a camera for me at least. Hold on. So I've got, what do I even have? I have this C920. There you are. Okay, you can see me now. All right. Yep. That way it's not. All right, so I can still use this camera. Okay. I've done this before, I swear. I swear. How you doing, man? It's good. So good to see you. I'm getting stoked. I'm you know, it's been a while since I've been at a public event such as Inbound, right? So mentally preparing myself for all of that. What's going on with you and the crew? What are you guys doing this week to get super jazzed for next week?
Yeah, I mean, mainly it's just ensuring that everything is buttoned up so that we can be offline for the entirety of inbound.
Yeah.
But
What's that like? What's it like going kind of offline or off the grid for a week when you got like a bunch of, you know, customers you got to worry about and stuff?
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of like education leading up to inbound where it's like, hey, by the way, we're out. Like,
Yeah.
so don't try to talk to us. Like,
Yep.
if there are any fires that happen, like, put them out. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot of education and just, I don't know, constant communication is what it
Yeah.
is. But
Setting up for success. It's almost kind of like when the parents would ever leave the house and they leave you the note where it's like, here, don't set anything on fire. Here's where you can $20 to get pizza or like whatever it is. You're setting them up for everything. That's awesome, man. What are you most looking forward to? Like, is there any like sessions or speakers or we just got the news John Mulaney is going to be there, which is
cool.
unreal. That's so awesome. But yeah,
So
what are
cool,
you looking forward to the most?
so I have to like a shameless plug for us on this one. We're doing
Do
a
it.
big pitch competition at HubSpot, which is going to be so cool. So
That's
on
right.
Thursday, September 7th at 2 p.m., check us out. We're
Nice.
gonna release something that's gonna revolutionize the ecosystem. So super stoked for that.
Let's go, dude. Is there any kind of like preview you can give, or is it all under wraps? Is there any hints, any not suspicion, I guess, not what's the word I'm looking for? Any
I'll give you a little-
any hype you wanna give people before it happens?
So we have designed a very special strategy to overtake a market that HubSpot does not really have a presence in. So we're going to be releasing that strategy and how we build it at Inbound, which is pretty sick. So
I
we're very
love it.
excited.
The suspense is killing me. I can't wait.
Yeah.
This is gonna be sick. Cool. So Chris, I don't do like, here's the thing. I come in and I kind of just like do these shows a little bit off the cuff, trying to, practice my improvisation and thinking on the fly and trying to put content together quickly. I'm really bad at just like writing stuff and pre-planning things. So usually what I do is I go through and we watch some content. We take a look at all the product updates that I've missed. I know there was a big one last week that I missed. I want to go through that one today with you. I think that might be super cool. Obviously, if you've got anything you got to do and you got to hop at any time, you just let me know. I'm just super happy you're here, dude. It's great to see your face. I haven't seen you in forever, even though we get to chat on Slack quite a lot, but we never get to hang out. So I'm super stoked for next week, but I'm also pleasantly stoked that you were free and able to hang out for this one. So thanks for coming on, man. Do you want to for anyone watching who doesn't know who you are, do you want to kind of tell the folks who you are, tell the folks about your HubSpot partner agency and kind of what you do and who you like to play with, just so we can, tell the people who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a founder at Workflow, and so we're like a HubSpot-focused RevOps shop. And so a little background about me: I became a HubSpot certified trainer last week, which has been one of the final feathers in my HubSpot cap.
Let's go.
HubSpot certified trainer, Houston Hug leader, partner advisory council member, HubSpot community champion, diamond tier partner. I mean, we love HubSpot. Basically, we live and breathe HubSpot. And so, that's us.
That's awesome, man.
We're a team of about 15 right now, and all of us are going to inbound. And so we're super stoked to have our first full team in-person inbound ever. So
You're bringing 15 heads deep?
10.
10? Okay.
10 to inbound.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. That's so sick. Happily partner, I might add, if you didn't throw it in there, maybe you did. But yes, one of our very esteemed Happily partners that we love working with so much. So anytime you need to deploy something like a Zebra or Timerman or anything like that, these guys are a trusted partner of ours. So let's actually dive into it, right? So tell me this. So I don't know if you know which big update I'm kind of obsessing over right now. Yeah, I feel like you do. Yeah, the middle pane, the middle panel, right? That came out on August 17th, I think. And during that time, I was absolutely just bedridden with the worst strep throat of my entire life, and I missed that completely. I remember hearing a long time ago something about reports being able to be embedded into these overview panels in the middle, but I'm thinking it was actually more just something that like developers were able to do, if I'm not like mistaken. Not necessarily something that you could just kind of like drag and drop like into the actual interface, like through that record customization tab. You know, and I was going through the updates the other day with a good friend of mine at HubSpot, just kind of seeing what I've missed and kind of checking in with him and all that kind of stuff. And we came across this one and I damn near lost my mind. Because this is it's one of the most crazy things, because like for me, I don't know like how quite to like explain it. But there was like, when I was a solutions engineer, and this happened a lot when I was doing onboarding too, when it came to reporting, there would be questions that you'd get from prospects or you know, your clients or anyone that's using HubSpot that like wanted reports, but only wanted like reports about like a single object at a time. You know what I mean? And you'd have to play this weird, like awkward dance around being like, well, reporting is more of like reporting across like the aggregate of your records and the aggregate of your stuff versus like what's going on with like one singular record. But it's like now with that new, you know, with the new update, which is more, let's throw this out there. It's more than just putting reports on CRM records, even though that's the piece that I'm like super excited about. There's a lot more that they kind of added to really customize that middle panel. But it's like now you can do that stuff, because like a lot of the times the stuff people wanted to report on more so had to do with the things that were related to it, right? And that's kind of exactly how this update works. But I don't know, is this something that like you guys have ran into a lot, and like were there other workarounds you kind of did in the past to kind of accomplish something like this, whether it was using another tool or like making a report hyper specific around one record and then figuring out like, you know, how do you go in and switch the filtering or something, things like that. I don't know, what are your thoughts on it, because I'm sure you're excited about it as well.
Yeah, so this was one of the most exciting updates that I think I've seen this close to inbound as well. Huge update, and so I'm surprised they released it before inbound. Yeah,
like wild,
like very. But yeah, so I actually have my team doing, we have an internal competition right now to see who can design the best custom middle pane tab, and we're gonna announce the winner on Friday. It's gonna be cool.
Yes.
Let's sync that up and we'll show the best use case.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. That's awesome. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting because if we think about inbound of last year, they really focused a lot on like Ops Hub and like the new developments there with the custom code and like even the CRM customization with the API. Now this update is more front end focused. So it's like we're able to drag and drop the reports without needing a developer. You just configure your reports, add it to your middle pane, and then from there you're good to go. I think shout out to Matthew in the chat who said showing the split of tickets across multiple pipelines. That is super applicable as a use case. I love that use case.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, and then in addition to that, I think if you're leaning into like an ABM strategy, account-based marketing or account-based sales, another, like if you're targeting those big Fortune 50, Fortune 10 companies, those types of reports on those activities would be super cool to see in a report as well.
Yeah, you could almost do like, I'm assuming there's something you could do around like a single object contact report on a company object that maybe is like breaking down contacts by like, you know, if they, I'm sure it's more, I'm sure it's like way more complex of like if they've been contacted or not, or like maybe if they have a deal open, or if they've identified them as a certain buying role or like something like this. But yeah, it's crazy. And like the thing that what's so cool about it is that just by adding that single object report, it automatically like filters the data for you, which like I guess it has to kind of have it make sense. But like, and we'll go through the tool. I couldn't remember if I saw anything in there that like made it so obvious that it was filtering stuff, or if they just kind of leave it out and just maybe it just works the way people think it should work, and they're not thinking about like filtering for things that are only like associated and like all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, it's super cool. But yeah, so we can dive into it, unless you had like any other like use cases you wanted to kind of like just mention that you were excited about regarding that update, but we can dive right in. Let's see.
Let's dive in.
Cool. So I'm gonna, let's see, how do I even, I gotta figure out, I want to get you on my other screen too. So let me do this. Let me open up my little hubby wubby portal right here. And the thing that like bums me out so much is like, I wish I could put these betas on our like developer test portals, because like I made, oh dude, I didn't tell you what I built yet. I built a self-sustaining demo portal. So like, yeah. So here, I'm gonna show this to you because it's super cool. Let me get us like set up on the next thing. So let's see. I'll bring you over here, and then I want to copy. Actually, let me copy you. Copy. I'm gonna paste. Nice. So you're here with me. Wonderful. Okay, cool. All right. Before we dive into the middle pane stuff, and I talked about this a little bit last week, so apologies if anyone watched last week's stream and I'm doing this, but this is something that me and Jonathan, our product specialist, kind of worked up. Why is this not letting me drag? Weird. Windows is so cool. Just kidding. Okay, I'm gonna open it this far. All right, so we built. So okay, so here's like the long and the short of why I did this, right? So one of the things that was like super annoying for me when I was selling HubSpot as an SE is, oh, and let me actually share my screen on Discord so you're not looking at it through a delay. Let's see, share screen. Yes. Here it is. So you should be able to see this in Discord a little quicker than it's showing up on the stream. All right. Yeah. So one of the things that like always like really annoyed me. Oh, now I have to fix this. Can I hide this thing? Show non-video. Show my screen. Okay, there you go. Cool, perfect. You can still see my screen in Discord, right? Okay, cool. Yep. So biggest thing for me when I was doing demos as a solutions engineer is I hated going into like my demo account and having like old stale demo data, right? Like we had tools that would like inject demo data like into the portal, but like it would still like get old over time, right? So if I wanted to go like build a report, it's like, oh, let's go build a report of like my deals or whatever. I'd go and make it, everything would say 0 and I'd have to be like, oh wait, let me change the filter so it's like showing data all time and like, you know, it's bringing in a whole bunch of old data and like all this crap and everything. And it wasn't cool. So I was like, what if there was a way that I could build a portal that would allow it so the deals and like the contacts and like the things that were in it were sort of like naturally progressing over time, and it looked like a real like lived in portal, right? Wow. So I was thinking through this, and when Operations Hub Pro came out and they came out with the scheduled workflow action, I was like, this is all I need, because if I can make like contacts and deals go through a workflow every single day, I could do something like move it through a certain stage or like have some sort of delay or like whatever, right? But then I figured out how you can do like random number generators in the format data actions. And I was like, well, what if I added a little bit of chaos to this and we could make it so like contacts would move on to different life cycle stages and then they'd like have a deal, but it would all be chance based, right? So essentially think of it as like, all right, a deal goes through a workflow and then a dice rolls. And if that dice roll is like 1, or like, you know, if it gets the number 1 out of like 6, or like whatever your chances are, like 1 in 6, 1 in 5, 1 in 10, 1 in 100, right? It would have a certain amount of chances to move on to the next stage or do something. And if it didn't, it would just stay put, right? So like you'd have deals and stuff moving through like stuff randomly, right? So let me show you what I did here. It's actually like pretty crazy. So if I go into like our deals here for this like fake demo portal that we built, all of these deals that you see in here, and like all this pipeline completely generated itself, right? These deals just kind of popped out of nowhere. They move along the different stages kind of on their own, right? Sometimes they close, lose, sometimes they move on, sometimes they don't. And this is all just powered by these workflows that we built, and I'll show them to you here. So we've got these folders, simulation workflows, right? And basically we started with like a whole bunch of fake contacts. We had like 500 fake contacts or something like that. And we used like Chat GPT to come up with like names of them. And we assigned them to like companies and created like fake company emails for them and like all this stuff, right? And then when we go in here, the first workflow basically just like creates a random number between 1 and 6 every single day. And if that random number is 1, it'll change it to a marketing qualified lead. And so contacts just constantly roll through these scheduled workflows every day, and they get these different dice rolls that if it ends up being a certain number, it'll do something, right? Or it'll just do nothing, right? So we have this for going through all the life cycle stages, and we also have it for going through like all the different deal stages too as well, for when it opens up deals. I went like way too crazy. Like we created this like fictitious like software company called Paleta, and they sell PaletaSoft is like their product. So like we have this crazy stuff here that when it actually like creates a deal, right? So if their life cycle stage is sales qualified lead, again, it's going through this like every single day. If they're an SQL, it'll do a random number generator, and if it's 1, it'll take them through creating a deal, but then it randomizes like what kind of deal it creates. We've got like a pro level software, an enterprise level software, consulting services that they sell, like all this stuff, and it'll randomly generate these. And then we even have like fake users that we put in here, so I could like build reports off of like sales reps like closing or losing deals, right? All through here. It's super cool, but it just like runs itself. And then to sustain it long term, wait, do you have like a fan or something? Like I could just hear a whole bunch of like air rushing past your camera.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
Better.
That's actually 100% better. Anyway, so what's cool is that I had Jonathan went and he's like, all right, well, if we're gonna like maintain this long term, we need like a healthy flow of like new contacts coming in. So he wrote some script and paired it with some like AI tool where it like automatically creates fake contacts every day, and like between random intervals throughout the day, it'll like shoot new contacts, these like fake contacts, like into the HubSpot portal. So this thing just forever is just constantly creating new contacts, constantly creating deals. And whenever you go and like make reports, it looks like someone's actively using it like right now. It's sick.
Wow.
Yeah, I think anyone who has to like demo HubSpot, if you want like a real looking portal, like this is a really like cool way to measure at least like contact creation, deal creation, and then like deals moving through stages and like losing and winning and like all that stuff. It's kind of nuts. Yeah, it's cool stuff. So we did that. And I wish I could go into this portal and like test out this like middle pane stuff, but like with these demo portals, they don't let you put on the betas, which is like kind of weird for you know, I mean, it is a developer portal, like aren't we supposed to test stuff here? But anyway, so let's actually go take a peek at this, and I want to see if I can just adjust my, why is it being so weird at not letting me grab the side of my screen?
That's cool from like a demo perspective, being able to show like the actual like live data interactions that happen. Because a common pain point across like many solutions partners is when you have to demo the reporting tool. It's really difficult to do so if you want to do like activities or stuff like that. There are other plugins and other solutions to kind of like fill your demo account with data, but be able to see stuff like this, like if you want to like a conversion rate report between deal stages, that's such a great thing to demo, because the AI tool is awesome. And so being able to show that would be great. In addition, it shows the power of automation in HubSpot as well, because you're building all of these things. Like, I mean, you could show that as like a behind the scenes into what you can automate in the account. I mean, that's so cool. Yeah.
And like, here's a good example, right? So like I was able to do the deal reporting in the, what do they call this again? Deal journey analytics now, I guess is how you would refer to this. Like deals go through journeys now, which is, I guess, a beautiful thing. But it's cool because like now it's neat that you can build these like very visual representations that just say like, hey, here's where your deals are like actually dropping off, right? And I've got like pretty consistent like chances for deals to like move on or get lost, so it looks pretty uniform throughout this, right? But like I could totally see someone like using this report to see like, hey, which stages are we just like, you know, our deals getting torpedoed in, right? And like, what do we need to fix and stuff like that. So it's super neat. But anyway, time for the main event. Let's go take a peek at these new options that you have for middle pane record customization. Now, Chris, answer me this. This used to be called the overview tab, right? Weren't they referring it to as the overview tab? Were you guys like, and for anyone who like hasn't seen the overview tab stuff before, it added this new tab in the middle section of records. Why don't I actually just like show it instead of like talking about it? Let's see. Where am I going? Portals. Personal.
While you hunt for that. This was a big pain point from users that were considering like Salesforce versus HubSpot, is the flexibility of that record customization in that middle pane. And so now this is a giant step in the right direction towards solving that gap.
Were you moving? Oh, so like here we're kind of like giving away the little a little preview here of it, right? This is just kind of some contacts I have in my test portal here. So were you using that overview tab a lot with folks and like bringing more stuff from the right panes over here? Because like the big things that let you bring in it was like the data highlights panel, which was like 4 properties, right? But then the cool thing is that it would also let you bring in the association tables, right? So like you had association tables, and that big difference there is instead of just seeing like the name, the phone number, and like 3 properties, you could actually have like a full table of associated objects, and you could even customize the columns. Did you see a lot of people like bringing stuff into the middle and like using that more than like the right panel and like cleaning up the right panel? Or were people not really touching it that much? Or like, what did you guys see before we kind of moved into this like new world of what's possible in the middle here?
Yeah, I think the most common scenario and like the best one that I've seen, honestly, is like that right-hand sidebar tends to get messy as you add additional plugins. Yeah. And so like if you use other things like Panadoc or whatever it is, like it adds another module and it makes it super long and super difficult to navigate. So we do see the association tables were probably the best feature that we saw in that overview tab, because you got to see what other objects are associated to, the relationships, and then some actual data points related to that actual like object. And so super cool, because you're saving space on that right-hand side. You're making it a much more like scalable and mappable object. And so, that's the best use case that I've seen.
Yeah. And it's super neat. I don't think I ever noticed this. They had these like little filters on these association tables that let you then filter it by what the association label it is. And to be honest with you, I think this might have been the first time that I actually noticed that, which is super cool. They had that, but there's an even better update with the new stuff that they kind of put out, right? So let's go take a peek at it, right? So what they're letting you do now in this middle column, because before it was just this like overview tab, and it kind of came pre-stocked with a bunch of stuff, and you can like add and remove some of the cards. Again, most of that stuff was going to be just like association tables, kind of like the association cards on the right. So it's like you want to see your contacts in the middle and not on the right. You could nix it on the right, show it in the middle, right? But let's actually go look at the record customization tab. Also super stoked to see that this like had custom object support like right out the gate. Like,
I've seen way more of that with the new betas that have released.
Yeah, I think they've had this big like custom object parity project going on in the background, like doing everything they can to make custom objects work just like regular standard objects in HubSpot. And I can only imagine that like this is from a lot of that legwork they've been doing to get both standard and custom objects on as similar frameworks as possible. So like when you roll out something super cool like this, it's not just confined to like standard objects that you have. But anyway, so folks, if you want to go and play with this, again, you can't do it on a dev portal. You have to do it on like a real actual HubSpot portal. But it's a beta that you opt into. So real quick, just to kind of show everyone else here, if you go into your little menu up on the top right-hand corner and go to product updates, there's an early access tab over here, and you can click on betas. And as you can see, dude, I should probably look through these. There's probably so many other things that I've missed here. But if you scroll down, there's one called Public Beta CRM Record Page Editor. And that'll get you into this one, and you can start playing around with it, right? So let's actually go take a look now. So let me back. Cool. So good.
I was talking to Dax yesterday about the custom object side, where the custom objects need to be like, almost treated the same as everything else. It's more and more part of the native architecture, where it's like, it'd be really cool at one point to be able to like email custom objects. That would be sick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good question. Can you, in workflows, can you email contacts associated to a custom object yet? That's gotta be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, before I think I'm crazy. So we create a work. Do I have a custom? No, I don't have a custom object in this portal. We can, we'll sidetrack. We'll go find that. I would assume at this point you probably can, right? It's probably sending the email to any contacts, then you can filter by an association label and kind of go from there, right? But like, I remember a time when you couldn't even like log a CRM email to a custom object. You know what I mean? Like, it took them a while to get like that basic activity stuff on there, but it really today, I don't come across a bunch. I think the big one that like gripes me a lot is that you can't do custom cards yet. I don't think on custom objects. So John McLaren, if you're watching and if you have any news to share with us on that front, that would be amazing. Because custom, like, I would just imagine, like, since there's so many times where like custom cards or custom objects like represent data in an outside system, like I'd imagine being able to do a custom card that like dips into that outside system to show you more data that maybe you don't want to store on the record in your CRM as properties, right? That would be super helpful. But I guess like in theory, you could access that off of like an adjoining record, and do it that way too. But let's get to the goods here, right? So now what's happening in here is this customize your layout section. It used to say customize the overview tab. When you opt into this beta, it'll say customize the middle column. And this is like some of the coolest I've ever seen on HubSpot. Like, I'm so stoked on this. But let's go ahead and start. So we're thinking about that middle column right now and kind of like what sort of customizations we can make to that. Something that like a ton of people skip over. Like, I've been through tons and tons of HubSpot portals, and even portals where people like do like a good amount of record customization. A lot of people kind of skip over the fact that you can change this record customization depending on the team of the user, right? So whether you're on the right-hand panel or you're editing something in the middle panel, or you're doing like left sidebar customizations too as well. I'm pretty sure does the right panel support this yet? I'm fairly sure it does, right?
Yeah,
hold on.
does.
Yep, cool. So left, middle, right sidebar, depending on the team that the user is looking at that record, you can customize it. So what does that mean? Well, maybe there's some stuff that's more relevant for your support team to see. Maybe there's some stuff that's more relevant for your sales team to see, and more stuff for your CSM, whatever teams you got, right? So don't ever sleep on the fact that you can make these records super relevant to whoever's looking at them, and it doesn't have to be a one size fits all scenario. But for the sake of today, let's take a look at this default view here, right? And then I might zoom out just a little bit because I'm definitely messing up how this all looks by being so zoomed in. But anyway, so can I drag this out just a bit so we can take up more of the screen? That might mess stuff up. Whatever. Okay. So first off, like, huge update to the actual like just layout of this tool, right? I'm gonna bring my music down a little bit because it's distracting. So big update to the layout of this tool, right? It comes with a whole bunch of these different cards already built in, and what you're probably gonna see in here is what was already sitting in that overview tab, I'm pretty sure, right? But one of the big things, like right off the bat, that you'll notice is you can change the name of the actual tabs themselves, and you can actually add more. What happens when you hit activities here? Okay, so nothing. So the activities one just stays. That's not going anywhere. You can change the order of it here. Okay, very cool. We love to see that. And then you could add like net new ones, right? So we'll just call this like test contact tab. And I'm assuming this is going to give us a fresh one. Yeah. All right. Yep. So it gives us this fresh one right here, right? Chris, walk me through like your thought process on like what sort of information, and maybe this is just more of like a general kind of like on the fly thing, but like when you think of information that would belong in the middle of a record, right? So like more real estate, a little more room to work with, maybe hidden behind a tab, maybe not, right? So you got a little bit of possible categorization you can do here, right? What do you like? Are you, and maybe you have done this, maybe you haven't done this yet, because this is very new, right? But are there any like rules of thumb that you're thinking you're probably gonna apply going forward of like what should be in the middle and what should be on the side, right? And not necessarily which things, but like what would make you put something in the middle versus something on the side, and like what's your thought process, and what are the it depends of those like situations, or in what's going through your head there?
Yeah, I would say when you're doing custom views for different team members within your business, it's important to think about focusing on the actionable data in that middle pane. So the things that are listed should be actionable in respect to that person's job role. That right-hand side can be like kind of good to know or like contextual knowledge, but ultimately that middle pane area, if that's the object they're going to work out of on a daily basis for all of their customers, it needs to be all the actionable data points that helps them succeed in their job role. That's the way that I would design.
Gotcha. So like stuff that maybe you need at a glance, right? And so like when we're thinking at a glance, like oftentimes I'm thinking of like the physical, right? So like if I'm someone sitting in front of the computer and I'm on the phone with somebody, right? Because like oftentimes like if you're on the phone with a client, whether you're a support person or you're a salesperson or you're a services folk or, an executive, like whatever it may be, right? Like oftentimes you're whipping open your CRM and you're looking at shit on the fly when you're having a conversation, right? So like, in that middle pane, I think I'm thinking the same way that you're thinking about it, where it's just like that information that you need at a moment's notice, right? I see something like, what's the most important stuff that I can like display for somebody that they're most likely going to have to either like reference in a conversation or take some kind of action with, right? Make it readily and easily available to them. And then, on that, I think like as you start seeing stuff go forward, what's really going to be interesting is if they open up these middle panels. Well, they already did open up middle panels for private apps, right? So anyone who's watching here, like something really cool that you can do if you're building a private app and some sort of like integration with some internal piece of software or database or program or whatever that like your team uses, you can build like experiences that access and display and interact with that data right inside of HubSpot, which is really neat, right? What I'm super excited to see also though, is like when this middle pane gets opened up to the public app marketplace and like app developers like Hapily, right? Or any partners that are building apps on the HubSpot app marketplace, right? Because like right now, a lot of your functionality is like stuffed into that right sidebar, right? Like you got a couple buttons, you can display some information, you can open up that modal that does that like iframe thing, but like, you're kind of limited to that. But if you all of a sudden had like the real estate in the middle and you could build those like React based apps, which I'm not a developer, but I know you can do more with that than some of the others, just like APIs and showing shit in like a page, right?
You're totally right.
That's going to be super interesting to see how people strike a balance with like, what am I doing with that real estate in the middle versus like, what am I doing with the real estate on the right? It'll also be super interesting to see how this like influences like whatever the next version of the record page looks like, right? Like we've been on this 3-column thing for a while, right? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that while I kind of poke through some of this stuff.
No, I think I am so hopeful that is like the next stage of how this gets developed, especially because like even if you think about Hapily, which is you're built upon extending the functionality in the CRM. So like you're using other applications, but if you can have that be easily accessible in that middle pane, you're truly creating that crafted one-stop shop for anyone that's using HubSpot, and that's perfect for scalability. I mean, and even I think about like when designing this, I think you almost have to like rev ops yourself in the process, where you think about, if you're think about the people that you're designing this for, think about the platforms that they currently use, think about the processes of how they're going to, interact with their customers. And then you kind of have to like retroactively work backwards from there, where it's like, if you know that your CS team is going to be working from a playbook for customer intake, they should be able to see all that like deal data on that middle pane so that they can reference, any questions they have for that playbook or when they're on a call with a customer. And so I think it's a little bit of like rev opsing yourself, and then that ease of access for enhanced visibility.
You just gave me the wildest idea. What if they, because playbooks live in that right sidebar right now. What if they made like a little playbook module in that middle sidebar? Because because like imagine it's just like you hit one of those tabs and then you have all the potential calls that you could have with that person right there, and you click it and it like fires open the thing, or like you work with it like right within that modal or something. I'm not sure which would be, because like I can respect with playbooks how it opens up that separate movable panel you have to work with, because then you can kind of move it and see other stuff like that left-hand sidebar and like scroll through past activities, and like you can intake all this information in the fly. But yeah, maybe there's some interesting sort of deployment sort of in that middle tab, right?
Because you could like, it solves for a couple different things. I see this in the community, the HubSpot community, all the time. People wanting to force playbooks to be completed, and I think that's likely coming very, very soon. I saw a recent private beta that was requiring call outcomes whenever you log activities. I was like, that's awesome. And so either like requiring playbooks or like just prompting the playbook completion within that middle pane would be a huge for sales teams. Yeah,
that'd be sick. Man, there's a lot of potential here. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Anyway, all right. So when you go and build a new tab, folks, right, what you can do now is you can come in and add these cards, which, like, to be fair, you could kind of do before, right? And it had data highlights. It was pretty much I'm pretty sure it was like just data highlights and then association tables of each object, right? And you'll see that same stuff in here. Like, this stuff is already kind of like built. It's already there, right? And you just kind of check it off and it'll go ahead and show up. I don't know if you had the ability to like change the name of this stuff. This is a default card, but if I created a new one, I'd be able to like change the name of it and stuff like that. But that's a nice new thing, I guess. With the ability to create custom ones, you got to have the ability to like rename them and call them what you want. But the exciting part is, let's go ahead and hit create card here. So this is the real kind of juice here. There's 3 new things here. So again, before, we had the data highlights and we had association tables, right? So like we could walk through some of these kind of more boring ones here, right? You go set an association table here. Essentially what it's going to have you do is give it a card title. This is what you're going to see on the actual record itself in that middle panel, right? So like I might just say like contacts, right? Excuse me. And we can call this the contacts card. So the internal name is what you actually see in this builder here. So this is not something that, or at least I don't think it's something that someone's going to see on the back end here, right? And then what you do is you choose the object. So if we're doing contacts here, we can do contacts, and then you come in and you're basically like building a table here, right? So each one of these properties that you choose is adding columns to a table. I don't know what the limit is here, but you probably want to be pretty strategic about which properties that you choose, because you also don't want to have people have to like scroll for like a year to kind of get to, an important piece of information they'd want to see, right? So when you're building this out, you want to be thinking like, okay, someone's going to see a list of associated objects, right? Be that companies, deals, tickets, whatever. In that list, are there certain properties I want them to be able to kind of see at a glance without having to either preview it or dive into that actual object itself and see it, right? Chris, any sort of like tactics that you sort of deployed in terms of like setting up these like original association cards? We might have covered that already, but if there's anything else you want to kind of toss in there, right? We can do that.
I would just again, try to focus on those actionable data points like per those team members. I would also say, you're on a contact object right now.
Yep.
For the customization, I started to test this on a deal object, and there's more functionality on deals. Have you seen the deal stage tracker? Oh, go to the deals. I'll show you. Yeah. It's
What
a
are you
standard
talking
card.
about? Wait,
Yeah,
did
go
I
to the-
do? Oh wait, this is interesting because I did this off a contact record and it let me make a contact card. So in this case, is that same object associations?
I've heard whispers of this. I have heard lots of whispers on this. I hope so.
Yeah.
'Cause I now know that there's there's private beta for company to company because there's the parent-child that's native, right? I've heard there's other whispers of like custom associations, basically unlimited flexibility in CRM. I predict that will be released at Inbound. That was one of my predictions.
I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not going to say anything.
Fair enough.
I don't want to say. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say anything. But you make good predictions. So let's come out of here. So that's interesting, and there might be a reason why it's showing that on my portal. Okay, but we're gonna pull away from that, and we're gonna go look at deals, because there was another thing that I had seen. It's like progress bar or something.
Yes. The deal stage tracker. It's a standard card.
Okay, so let's do that instead. That's much funner. So let's actually go look at deals. We'll go to record customization. We'll hit this minimum column here. Back in. We already kind of did this. And then we'll just do custom deal tab.
And for those that are more sales focused, sales is my game, man. It's actually a standard card. It's not a new card. It's part of the native functionality that got released. I added this to my overview tab for my client so they could see it.
Wait, say that again. So the stage tracker is a new what? It existed before this.
So it was released, right? So the new middle pane was released. This is like you're creating a new one. The deal stage tracker is a standard one. That's just like an off-the-shelf one. So if you just go back to add cards and you scroll down, you should be able to see deal stage tracker. I think it's at the very bottom.
I don't have it. Wait,
Which isn't showing?
Was there like a beta that I didn't opt into that like had it before or something?
No, I'm looking at it in my demo account right now. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get it up on the no, because I won't be. I'd have to like mess up your camera thing for me to show on the thing. But so you're saying when you add, it's not through here. You add it and it's part of that standard overview tab.
Yeah, it's called let me look at it right now. It is called deal stage tracker. Yeah, tracker card is what it is.
Wild.
Yeah, standard card stage tracker.
Wait, share your screen on Discord and let me at least look at it from here because I want to see what you're doing.
Yep. All right, where?
Oh, it took you out of the waiting room for some reason.
Yeah, I try to share it.
No worries.
I can add you to my demo account. I mean.
Oh yeah, do that.
All right, cool.
Just max at hapily.com. And then turn your camera back on again because we lost you. Everyone just sees me a second time and no one wants that. Yes. Okay. I'll check my email on a different.
All right, invite sent.
All right, sick.
Pretty sure this is standard card. It's what it says in the.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I've been missing tons of shit. Dude, like, that's the tough thing about like it, it's funny is like when I was working there, I was just so on top of everything. So like by the time Inbound came around, I was always like, I already knew about this. Nah. And now it's just like everything's new to me.
Yeah, it's a standard card. When you create a new one, it's right below report. I don't know if it's.
So if I go, you want me to go look at a deal object in this portal, deals, record customization, customize the middle,
stage tracker, right below bottom
deal
right,
stage tracker.
Yeah.
And so no one just added that to the 8/28/23 946. Did someone add this the other day?
I don't think so, because we started playing with this yesterday.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
it just
yesterday.
popped it on automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know
So-
what it looks like yet, so I'm like super stoked to actually see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and we'll set a couple of these up. So that's even cool. I knew I had seen that, but I didn't even like address it in my video the other day because I was so freaked out about the reports. Like that's just like the big thing for me. All right, cool. So let's go take a look again with the association table. You know, this is all pretty simple. You choose an object type. We'll do contacts here. First name, last name, and then what you can do is you can preview it, right? So it'll show you what these cards will actually look like when you go and put them in a center panel, right? So that's cool. Now, for me, the really cool update to this is that they added the association label list, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, I'm pretty sure. It's the same thing as an association table, except it will only filter out records of that type that match a specific association label. So in theory, you could have like 2 different sections for contacts, right? Or 2 different, association tables for contacts, but it's splitting them up by those association labels, right? So like I could even think about like our own use of it, right? At Hapily, where we have so many different deal pipelines, right? Like we have a deal pipeline for well, actually you could even like use this in like in a partner play, right? Like sometimes there might be something you're selling to your partner, right? So that company might be tagged as like the end user customer on that deal. In some cases, that partner could be coming in and servicing and acting as like the person who's deploying for that deal. And like you might have a tab that would just say like partner deals they're associated with versus like deals of stuff you sold to them. And you have that differentiated by like a company association to a deal using different association labels. I can never like think of that word. I don't know why. And then like you'll actually split that out and see it separately, which is pretty sweet. So what would you do here then? So you just choose the object type and then you choose the label. Easy. And then you go ahead. Oh, you could do multiple labels. That's pretty cool as well, right? So it'll just do it by labels. The thing that I'm wondering here is that do you not have control over the columns, right? So if I were to preview the card here, oh,
but does that get?
Oh, this is interesting. So it gives. Yeah. Go ahead. What are your thoughts here?
I wonder if it pulls from the native association, like architecture. You know, you design the association and what properties pull. I wonder if it pulls like that into the object.
Yeah, let's actually, I have a deal that I know we can test this with. So let's do, what did I, decision maker, champion. I remember doing this. Why is it not letting me save it? Fix errors to save. Do I just need to give it a list? Contacts by association label. Test. Association labels. So what's interesting here is that it's not.
Fix errors into save.
What's my error here? This appears on the thing. Is this broken? Hold on, let's try it one more time. Association label list. Choose object types. I'm doing this on a contact. Okay. Okay, now it's gonna work. It must have just weirded out for a second. Okay, cool. So I can save it. So this is interesting. If we go take a peek at this, because I know I have some deals that had a whole bunch of these. Here we go. Custom deal tab. Interesting. So it doesn't. All right. So this doesn't work the way I thought it did. So it's not doing a. It's not doing a list. It's basically just showing the contact's name and their email address alongside their specific association label. Now, here's what'll be interesting. If I add budget holder to another person here, what's that going to do? It just adds them again. All right. Okay. Interesting. I wonder what it shows when it's not. I wonder what it shows as like an additional property here when it's not showing a contact, right? Maybe it's just the link. What is this? Just gonna give me a link? Yeah. So it just links me directly to it. That's interesting. I mean, I guess like you gotta play with what kind of real estate you can play with in here. But it would be nice to be able to have those like tables itself, right? So like, I wonder.
Do you have the option to add the label to the contact?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering, right? So like if we go, let's add a card here. Let's do create a card, association label. Okay, you can just do, I think it's just let you do the type. It doesn't let you set a label here. Now you do have the, what's it called? You do have the, like the filter that's on it, right? Yeah. But there's no way to pre-filter it, which is like kind of goofy. So that might be a cool thing, HubSpot and product team, if you're watching here, like go and, you know, given the ability that if like I can add a bunch of different cards here, like maybe give me a filter to just like filter out kind of like that association label one is doing. Because that association label one works a little bit different. I think it's nice to like have, like, especially if you're doing something where it's like you need clearly defined like buying roles or, you know, who's the partner for this customer or something like that. I think it's nice to be able to see it kind of organized that way. Because let's be honest, like on the right hand column where you see your contacts, you can barely see the association labels because they're just like, they're like gray, thinnest font you've ever seen in your entire life, and you can barely see it there, right? Like, what's the point? You know, so, but that's kind of neat. Anyway, all right, cool. So we've gotten through association tables. You all know about those. Went through a label list. Data highlights, just to kind of refresh anyone's memory here. What this is basically going to do is this is just going to let you show up to, I think, four properties here. So we go and preview it. It basically just displays them all in a line here in the center panel, right? So if you have records where it's like, hey, there's 4 really crucial, important properties that I want people to see the frickin' second they hit this page, prominently displayed up at the top, like data highlights is a good, you know, kind of card to use there, right? It's a pretty sweet one, right? But again, this has been around. This is a little boring. We've seen this one. Let's go look at some of the new stuff. The next one, which is kind of like data highlights, is this properties card. Now, Chris, how much have you guys been playing around with the stuff that you can do from like a developer standpoint, like building a private app, right? With that middle bar, because I might be crazy, but I thought I saw something a while ago where they were saying you could build these cards in the middle that showed a bunch of different properties. And I might be insane. I thought you had the ability to also edit the values of those in line, almost like a form. Is that something you've seen or your team has seen in like the, okay, tell me what you've, all right. So I'm not crazy. So tell me what you, if you guys have been playing with that, tell me what it does. What's like the possibilities there compared to this? Because this is a little bit different. It's a little more static, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this one is just going to show the properties, you know, where they are on their other objects, uneditable. What we've done with some of our middle card customizations is we've made global search properties in the middle pane with custom CRM cards via. So basically, we're paying the CRM API and just giving you the ability to search the properties or search the objects and change them in real time as well. The thing is, you have to have a really trustworthy team to build that. Because otherwise you could have a whole bunch of data get manipulated on one object by multiple people, but the possibility is definitely there. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, got it. So it sounds like you still have, it's almost as if they've like released a lot of like the light versions of like what's available for developers to do in that middle pane to stuff that's like a little bit easier to use, right, on this like middle panel through the UI, right, at least. But yeah, so for folks that want to see what this looks like this is, again, like dead simple here, right? We're going in, we're adding a whole bunch of properties here. All right, the Salesforce opportunity ID. No, sir. No, sir. Not in the age of the hub-a-whooshin', baby. We can't be doing that. So tracking number, main competitors, right? I don't gotta do 12, right? But essentially it's gonna show properties like up here. So like, I don't know. What do you think a good use case is for this? Like, why do we need to see 12 properties like in a pane like that? Like, does anything like immediately like pop into your mind?
Yeah, I have a great one for CS teams. So for those that are looking for like a RAG score, red, amber, green, being able to see the data points that make up a lead scoring model that signify this customer is in zone red, this customer is in zone yellow, this customer is in zone. We get lots of questions with lead scoring models, asking them, oh, well, why do they meet this qualification criteria? And so you have to go check each of the properties. This allows you to see why someone's qualified in a scoring model.
That's brilliant, right? Okay, so you're saying like, all right, maybe you're looking at a company record and perhaps that's how you're managing a relationship with like a client or like a customer your company has. And maybe on the left-hand panel, you're seeing a a non-editable field that is set to, I think you said RAG, right? Red, amber, green.
Yep.
It's a good acronym. I've never heard that. And it's like, cool, I can see what that is at a glance, right? But if I want to like dive in and understand all the criteria that's causing that to be a certain score, it's probably not super convenient to stuff that into the left. Literally the second I said that, Nick goes, stop the left sidebar scrolling and fragmented ad hoc left pane configs. Yes, right. So I got the timing. Nick, you and me are on the same friggin' wavelength right now. So yeah, I mean, this would be better because you could hide this behind a tab. Because maybe it's not something you need immediately. Maybe it's like, oh, I see red. Yeah, I know why they're red, right? Versus like, oh, they're yellow. Like, why are they yellow? And then you could come in and actually see an explanation of what this is. And you could almost use it as a way. I mean, that's actually cool too. Is thinking about these middle panes as ways to like tuck the data away, but keep it accessible, right? Because nobody likes hitting view all properties and scrolling to death and going alphabetical order and opening up all the different groups and like all that shit. Like no one likes doing that, right? So the ability to, it's like, oh yeah, it's there, it's accessible, but it's not like in your face, and it's not like you're giving other data room to breathe that needs to breathe, but you're also making it quickly accessible, but not taking up real estate of like the crucial main page, right?
Exactly.
That's actually a really cool, and you could do that for all your different lead scoring models because you can add in a bunch of these. I wonder what the limit is around like number of tabs, number of cards, things like that. But that's super cool. Okay.
Yeah,
sweet.
No, I think that's great. The red, amber, green's a great use case. I mean, we get a lot of questions from like sales teams where it's like, well, why is this person qualified? Like I know the lead scoring model says it, but why are they qualified? And so since the data in a lead scoring model pulls directly from the properties, you can reflect that here. Just be able to see, oh, we're qualified because of X, Y, and Z. So it's like super easy to glance.
That's actually super interesting. It's like justify your lead scoring models or any of your scoring properties for that matter. I could also see like a lot of situations where like maybe you have a deal that leads to an order getting placed, right? Like I've seen a lot of people do things like where it's like, oh, we've got some like custom right-hand sidebar that like prints a shipping label or sends something to the, to the warehouse or whatever. And then it sends something back to HubSpot. But like, I could totally see a card that would get like populated once like an order's been shipped out, right? So like I can go take a look at the deal and it's like order details, you hit that, and then instead of again looking at the freaking left hand column when like none of that stuff's populated because no one's actually given like a whatever, right? You can just see it in like a different tab. So Nick in the chat is saying it depends on the Hub subscription in terms of how much stuff they get. Standard gets 0 custom tabs. Nick, what do you mean by standard? Is that like free HubSpot starter? Yeah, like I wonder where this comes in because I didn't see like what sort of like limits and stuff. And I don't know if they've updated like the technical catalog with it yet, but maybe they have. Anyway, that's sick. A lot of cool use cases for this in terms of just making your data like accessible and like easier to digest. All right, let's go take a look at Stage Tracker first, and then we'll kind of end it with report card over here. How does this work, dude? I'm not so like. I'm thinking Domino's Pizza Tracker right now is like is what I'm thinking, or like, you know, kind of HubSpot's deal records used to have a bar at the top, and don't they kind of still do? Isn't there like on the left hand side of the deals, or did they change it to a drop down? I can't remember.
It's a drop down now.
Kind of like, so tickets was drop downs, and then they moved deals to a drop down instead of having like the bar. Because they had like, didn't they have like a little bar, right? That was over there. So is this just bringing that back? Like, what is this giving us here? Oh.
So what's cool about this one is you can see whether the deal entered every stage in your pipeline. So there's going to be an orange fill in every stage that the deal has been in, and it's going to be white for the stages that it skipped, showing the complete progression of the deal throughout the entire pipeline.
Stop that right now.
So cool.
Okay, so wait a minute. All right, so it's like, if this isn't coming standard, this is something you're probably popping into the top of your overview tab the second you step into a HubSpot account.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I need to see this in action. So like, if we go
deals. This is a good plug for your self-sufficient demo portal. You're able to see that.
True. All right, so overview. That's cute. So wait, deal stage.
Oh, I wonder
forecast category. What's next step? Is that a property?
Yeah, that's been a native property for a while. Basically, it's specifying the next step in the deal.
I'm going to send him 1,000 pizza pies. I want to see like what happens when it's like a good chunk of text in there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's kind of. I mean, like I'm all the way zoomed in. So hold on. Yeah. I mean, you know what might be cooler there is if they brought that down to kind of its own level. So if it needed some space to actually like write the text in there, it could. It's kind of goofy that I got to do a tooltip to kind of see it all. I mean, I like that they have it in there, obviously. Like if you're deploying it this way, you totally need to do that. So you can also do amount. So let's actually pop in an amount here.
Oh, I wonder, imagine you could probably customize those properties as well, right? If you just wanted to remove next step.
Oh.
No?
Did we miss that?
I'm looking in mine. It doesn't look like you can. And then I guess another question I would have is, what if a deal moves through multiple pipelines, like a renewal type of opportunity, and you use one deal? Does it cycle back through? Huh.
Yeah. So like you're saying you move that deal to another existing pipeline. Like what is that? Does it like retain the knowledge of the past like stages it went through somehow? I'd imagine it would change, right? And then forecast. Hold on. We're friends, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can I just be like super vulnerable with you for a second?
Let's hear it.
I never figured out any of the goals or forecasting shit in HubSpot. And I just like never touched it. And to this day, I've got no idea what I'm talking about, and I need to like learn it. I just need to learn it. What the thing is like when I was in sales, I never got into the money side of stuff. I was always just like this is why HubSpot's so cool. I don't care what it costs. It could do all these awesome things. And like, I was never thinking about like my pipeline or the MRR or like the forecasting or like anything like that. And it's just like, I was very frustrated with that goals tool for so long because like it was just like hidden in the settings and it like hard to access, and like you could do a bunch of different things across it, and like Was it also the forecasting tool? I'm not sure. And like, I don't even know what custom goals could even let you do. I just never touched it. But what I'm assuming here, is that like forecast category is probably just a property, right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
this is, you're touching on a point that I've like been harping on for ages now, where it's like, do we really need forecast probability and deal probability and goals all in the same like object? And like, even then, the goals feature is really hard to report against unless you have a very specific type of report. And so, I mean, it's been evolved so many times over the past, like, let's say, years. Like, I've seen so many updates with it. And even the forecast tool, like the forecast tool is great, but it's also reliant upon so many other features to really work correctly. And so it's difficult to do the right way.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And I would imagine too, like, people probably I mean, is this just a standard way of like, when we go look at these like forecasting properties, right? Like, is this pipeline best case commit close one? Is this like a standard framework like everybody uses? It is. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. I clearly wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you can.
I was just sitting in HubSpot, not caring about any of the CRM shit. And I just didn't. Anyway. All right. You know what? Public commitment. I will figure this tool out. I will learn it. I will try to become more knowledgeable. Anyway. So it looks like we've got this little highlight here saying that we're in this deal stage. I would love to see if I like hovered over this, if it would like pop up the name of the different deal stage. But let's actually, wow, I really never go. Yeah. What's up?
I'll do you one better to see the date that it entered the stage, because you can't see that on the
Oh, yeah.
You can't see the date that it entered the stage on the front end. You can't use it in reporting and stuff like that. We'll just, not in a flexible way, but it'd be cool to see, the stage that it's in, the date that it entered the stage. That would be so super.
Yeah, like a little tooltip. Like I hover over this and it brings up entered blah in like whatever stage at whatever date, right? Now, we get this little check mark. So, and we're in qualified to buy right now. The next one would be presentation scheduled. But what you're saying is that it's going to tell us if we skipped one. So if we go straight to decision maker, interesting. It still just checked everything off. Huh.
Had those deals entered the stages before? Had it ever like
well, you know what? Just in case. Let's create a new deal. And maybe this just isn't working for me, right? It is beta stuff after all.
Yeah. I just did a test in my demo portal. If you change pipelines, it resets the view to the new pipeline. It doesn't show the previous history.
Okay. Interesting. Let's create this and let's just see what happens. So we're in appointment scheduled. And if I skip qualified to buy, the heck, it's still showing me that it went through it. Interesting. You said you saw it like skip it before?
Yeah. I thought
maybe they're just working on it. I mean, this is, again, folks, this is beta. This is beta software, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I mean, that would be, hopefully they keep it in there. I don't know if they had it in there and then they got rid of it. But like, I'd love to see a little like X and maybe like faded color, like if it skips it or something like that. Because like that's valuable for a lot of people to know, especially like if I'm a manager and I'm looking at this and I go, why did you skip this like stage or whatever? Like, not that I want to like reprimand the sales rep, but like, it's also good for me if I notice that like quite often. Maybe we go back to RevOps and say like, hey, why is like, these stages are kind of like pointless or something like that. Right. But that's super cool. It's nice to see that like visual sort of, pizza tracker up here, which is awesome.
Ticket pipelines need to be next for sure.
Yes, you're right. Oh, hey, dude, this is interesting too. It keeps one for your closed loss stage. I would almost like, what does it look like with closed loss then?
See,
there's your skip.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right, they're probably working on it. Hey, we'll chalk it up to that. And like,
crazy.
Here's the other thing too. If it goes into a lost stage, like give it a red X here or something like that. You know what I mean? If it goes to a close one stage, give it a nice green check mark, right? Maybe even like replace the check marks with just the date that it got into that stage. That might be interesting too. But V1 of this, I'm sure there's a lot of things they can do, and you also got to like tip your hat off. Like they're packing a lot of stuff into more real estate, but you know, less real estate. It makes sense that they got rid of it from being over here, because like if you've got a killer amount of like deal stages, like I'm sure that little tiny bar that just showed the small little slivers, right, in that second version of it was much tougher to like render and make it look good than when it used to be like up on the top here in the older versions of like the CRM records. So that's cool though. That's awesome. More like the more visual stuff that you can add to these pages, honestly, the better. So that's super cool. All right, last but not least, the big kahuna, the thing you all came here to see, right? And that is going to be reports, right? Have you already deployed this for any customers yet?
Yes.
Okay. Walk me through. What was the use cases? What were they trying to see? What's the reason for it to be on there? Like what sort of story were they trying to tell with the data? Talk to me.
Yeah. Account-based sales team. And so they wanted to see it's like their target accounts that they had flagged in HubSpot, how many activities, how many scheduled activities, the breakdown of activities for that specific company, all inside of that middle pane area, which is super cool.
So, okay. So let's add a card here. Let's create a card. Let's do a report. So it's not okay. So you're only, I guess, then limited by the objects that you can use in the single object report builder, right? Because the custom object report builder can use more objects than the single one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think they could ever build in custom report builder reports into this? Or like, what do you think would be the blocker there? Because like the way that like single object reports, the thing that's like unique to them is like, yeah, obviously you can't do cross object reporting, right? You could only bring in one singular object. The other thing is there is that element of like forcing you to have like a date field, right? Like some sort of filter of a date field. And like, I don't know if that's like a relic of that older tool wanting to limit the amount of data that's brought in from like a load balancing bandwidth, you know, make sure the tool's not sucking in too much data, because like maybe the earlier version of it wasn't as like sophisticated and strong as like the new custom report builder, right? But they had that, you know, you have to have like some sort of date that you're filtering the content by, right? So I'm wondering if in this it's like, hey, let's bring in single object reports because it might be a little bit easier for people to kind of wrap their heads around like how to use this. Might involve a little bit less nuance, right? But I'm wondering if there's anything like technical in the background that would like stop you from bringing in like a cross object report, right?
I don't know. I could see a limitation already on deals, right? So if you're using line items on your deals and you want to be able to show a line item report on your actual deal object, as of now, you can't do that because it's not the same object technically.
Yeah. So you can't make a line item single object report.
Not that I know of.
Let's just dust off the single object report builder, everybody. It is back in a big way.
So you can, but you wouldn't be able to add it to this view because it's not the same object type.
Well, no, because line items are associated to deals only, right?
Does it allow you to add it though if you just create like a dummy one? I figured you wouldn't be able to.
Let's see. I mean, I don't have any line items, but we'll just call this like dummy line item report. Oh god, this is so small, people can't see what I'm doing. Dummy line item report, right? So let's go pop it on. Don't add it to an existing dashboard. There's no data. Okay, so it knows this report is a line item report, right? So The question is, I think what we're trying to figure out is like, is it smart enough to filter that out in different circumstances, right? So because like you can't associate a line item to any other object but a deal, right? So like, is it going to let you choose it and then it's just not going to work?
If it does, that's great, because it means the technical limitations have like been resolved, basically, because it means they can pull from a different object, which would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Or it was an oversight. They didn't take it into consideration. So like, let's go look at it. So let's see. So we're in here. Oh, let's go to deals, because that's the one where it like actually makes sense, because like deals only associate to line items. I wish line items could associate to other objects, but I'm just like trying to think about, well, if you think about it, they do. With HubSpot payment subscription records, line items, right? The question is like, how would you associate that to something else? Because what's so interesting about line items is that the individual instances of them don't necessarily exist as like unique objects in your database. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it. I mean, maybe in the background they have some table, but there probably is a table for them in the background, right? But it's also something that, like, if you would look at that as an index page and it was served as its own unique object, you'd see like 1,000 of them with the same name, because it's not like you name every line item you sell an individual unique name like you do with a deal, a contact, things like that. So I can understand how like they're weird about it. But anyway, so let's actually go look at this. What I was doing: record customization, customize the middle column, default view. And then what we want to do is we want to add a card. We want to do a report card. And then we're looking for the LIA. Now, here's the interesting thing. So we can do it for a deal.
Yeah, it didn't specify the object type. It just had object on it.
It doesn't. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It just says bring up the report. So interesting. What I'm worried about here is if it's going to create any weird, awkward situations, because like, you know, there's so here's if in theory HubSpot the data exists in the background where it should be able to intelligently filter out that as an option for a different object type, because it knows that's a single object report that's based on line items, right? So like whatever filter shows which properties should be available, right? Hopefully, like if we go do this for like a company or a contact, it's not even giving you the option, right? Because it would just always be nothing because there's no association there. So let's actually look at that. Let's see, did they think of that, right? So we go to company here, we go to record customization, customize the middle, default view, and then we go add a card here, create a card, report card, LINE.
Oh,
interesting. So this is probably, unless.
All right.
I highly doubt there is anything happening in the background where it's smart enough to say, look at any deals associated to this company and then filter out those line items and bring it in. It's probably not doing that, right? But this is kind of awkward because it's creating a situation where a customer might say, oh, I'm trying to do this line item report and it's not showing up. But it's just like, well, yeah, because there's no association to it, right? But anyway, V1 of this is still pretty sick. Like it's awesome. And for anyone who wants to know like what this actually looks like, right? I think I built one here that if I go to my deals, I've got what am I looking at here? Thought I had it in here. Yeah. So the reports, this is what the reports look like, right? So it pops report right into the center panel here. And I think what I'm looking at, this is just like a count of deals report for a specific contact. And so you'd see whatever single object like report you build, you'd essentially see that in this middle column here. But the big thing that is doing, and I don't think it like explicitly even says this anywhere, but like this is the smartest part about it, is that it's filtering out the objects. So like when you're building a report in HubSpot, you can filter out objects that are included in that report. And that's either done by like selecting data sources and setting some things as primaries and some things as secondaries. But then you can always add filters when you're building out the report. You can also do it in a data set. There's a million ways you can filter stuff out. But what this is doing is it's just saying, all right, there could be all this like shit that could be in the report, right? But make sure any objects that are included have an association to this specific record that you're actually looking at, right? This is the golden ticket for all those customers in the past that said, oh, if I'm looking at this company, can I see a report on XYZ, right? Now you can, dude. Now you can. Because before it was just an awkward conversation of like, well, reports are really, an aggregate of like everything versus like a specific object. And it's like, bro, now it is. So I'm personally stoked on this. Like you can still do a lot of cool stuff with the customer or with the single object report builder. And if you almost think about it, this is kind of like how when you're using the custom report builder, you have your primary data source and your secondary data sources, right? Where your secondary data sources are any objects of that type that are associated to any of the primary ones.
Yeah.
This is almost the same thing where the primary data source is this record and the secondary objects are the ones on the single object report, and then it pops up and it shows in there. So that's super tight, man. That's cool stuff. Any final thoughts on this update, man? This is like this one single thing has been like Christmas to me.
Game changer for sure. I mean, it's a huge update. I mean, it's a great update for the CRM itself. So super excited about that one.
What do you think is so like after this, and maybe after we kind of talked about the big obvious one, which was App Store apps being able to like build stuff in the center panel, right?
Yep.
What do you think is like the next horizon for like the customization of like records in general? Like what's still missing? Like what do you still go, I wish I could do XYZ, right? Is there anything that immediately like jumps into your head of like, what do you think they should kind of go once they like iron this piece out?
Yeah, I don't know if it applies so much to like the object customization, but the one that comes to mind would be lookup fields, like being able to look up other objects in the CRM through a property. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. So like a new property type where it's just like if I wanted to associate well, actually, wait, let me ask you this. Is this kind of like in a weird roundabout way, right? If I go like add contacts here and search, is this like kind of like a lookup field a little bit in terms of like the functionality? But like again, that's way different than having like a property though. So like what you're saying is like it'd be awesome if I could come down here, select a property, maybe it's a multi checkbox, maybe it's a single like drop down. I'm sure if they built this, you'd be able to operate it in either manner, right? Where you're going in and you're searching, but it's actually searching up records. And then would it create an association or would it just like reference it? Like, what do you think? Like, should that be the new version of like how you associate objects, or maybe it's optional, right? Or like, should associations kind of still be one thing and lookup fields kind of be something different? Like where does your mind go there?
Yeah, I think there's likely use cases for both. The one that comes to mind here is, like you mentioned, the partner program, right? If you need to tag like who the partner is on a deal that's been brought to you, right? So if like Workflow is selling Real City or whatever it is, you can reflect that in the architecture on that company side. But I think about when you register deals like in PartnerStack or whatever it is, having that flexibility to go and like tag partners or multiple partners all at once might be kind of cool in the CRM. Yeah. We get that as a common request from those that are migrating from Salesforce, is the ability to have lookup fields. So the use cases are pretty much abundant, but we hear that a lot.
Yeah, I can almost even see a situation where it's like you've got the ability of the property to like reference these other objects. But then like what would be cool is like maybe you could then use associate, like our app that helps you like automatically do the associations to say like, if this property has the ID of this other company property, right, go ahead and make like the association there. And then if you do want the association, it's like an extra step you could take, right, versus like just referencing it. That'd be interesting too. But I think also it's like if you had those like lookup fields on forms, I know you guys did something custom, right, that you built a lookup field like into a HubSpot form or into a custom form that like fed through the, how did you do that again? Through the Forms API or something like that?
Yeah, we ping the Forms API to the CRM API and have a script running on a landing page to be able to search for companies that exist in the CRM.
That is so sick. That is awesome. And that's like a custom form in that sense, right? Yeah. Because it's doing that lookup in real time and bringing it into the actual form field itself. Yeah, exactly. Man, if that, like, that's the thing, you add lookup fields to the CRM and then like you have that same ability on forms, that would be absolutely nuts. Anyway, cool. Hey, before we wrap things up, Chris, what is workflow and like the hug that you're running and all that kind of stuff? What kind of stuff do you guys have on the horizon that everybody needs to know about? What do you want to plug? What do you want to tell people about? Like, give me everything.
Yeah, I would say number one for inbound, just follow us on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn as an inbound correspondent because I'm doing a lot of cool stuff every single day at inbound. I got a lot of cool like people that I'm meeting with there that I want to feature on my LinkedIn. And so for everything inbound, just stay up to date with me on LinkedIn and you'll get to check out some of the stuff if you're not there. As far as workflow goes, yeah, the Houston Hug was ramping up, right? So trying to build it up to be a big one. And I'm really focusing on solutions-based selling on pretty much everything on LinkedIn, RevOps. I mean, really focusing on that solving for the customer with a crafted solution is what we're honing in on as far as in the future.
Very cool. Very cool. What are the wait, did you mention you had events coming up, or like when's the next Houston Hug like event you're doing? Or did I just miss it?
I don't know. Yeah, next Houston Hug will probably be early October, but we're going to do an inbound wrap-up session probably like late September just to show all the things that we learned and all the cool stuff that we were able to see while we're there.
That's awesome. What do they have you doing for the correspondent stuff, for the inbound correspondent?
Yeah. So I'll be on site basically featuring all of the things that I think are the best parts of inbound, right? So I think I'm going to do like a what's the guy's name? Billy on the Street. You ever seen that?
Yes. Yeah. For $1. How many different workflow types are there?
Yeah, so Billy on the Street thing and inbound will be pretty cool. I think I'm going to try out some of that stuff, but overall just kind of featuring all the great people that are going to be in attendance at the event.
Dude, if you run up to someone and just say, ma'am, for $1, tell me every single standard HubSpot lifecycle stage, go, and just like assault random people with that would be awesome.
That's a great one.
So do they just have you like posting content to like specific hashtags and like contributing to the massive content machine that's awesome. That's so cool. And I'm sure does everyone like have their own, like, do they have like the ability to kind of like do their own take and like create that content? That's awesome, man. That's so cool that they're doing it. Yeah. That's a Christina Garnett initiative? Is it she's running that one? Awesome. Shout out to Christina. We love you, Christina. Thank you for everything you do for the community. But guys, we're gonna probably wrap it up there. Don't forget to check out Hapily, all the different sort of apps that we have. I'll kind of go into my little my little closing sort of arguments here. Let me pop over here, guys. Don't forget, if you are looking for any of the best apps that you need to extend HubSpot in every way that you could imagine, don't forget to check out Hapily's apps on the HubSpot App Store. Just a reminder, we've got Zebra. This is our integration with Stripe. So if you're trying to bring in that sweet Stripe subscription and transaction data into HubSpot so you're able to build reports on MRR, automate things like new customer onboarding when subscriptions are created. If you want to like segment your customers by folks who have like active subscriptions to things, right? Zebra can help you with all of that. We got a new app coming. It's going to be released around inbound called Orchestrate. This is going to be event management on HubSpot. So if you want to be able to manage speakers, sessions, sponsors, sell tickets, scan badges, whether you're doing online events or offline events, Orchestrate's going to be amazing for that. And then of course we've got our lovely lineup of all of the little, utility apps that just solve all those little migraines. Chris, thank you so much for hopping on, man. I'll see you soon. All right. Thank you for joining. I'm going to finish my little commercial here. I'll see you next week. Guys, so Clone Attack, right? This is our app that lets you clone objects inside the CRM. Associate, this is a workflow action that allows you to associate different records together. We got a lot of cool updates coming for Associate super soon, so stay tuned to kind of hear more about those. We've got Timer Man, which allows you to do advanced service level agreement stuff inside of HubSpot. So if you're using HubSpot Service Hub and you have a service or support team that has like, you got multiple ones, right? So they got different hours, different time zones, different hours that they work, different holidays that they, respect, things like that. And you want to make sure your SLA is taking all that stuff into consideration. That is Timer Man. Our newest app, TikTok Today. This puts today's date in a property across all your objects. So you can build amazing time between properties, that utilize today's date as either the start or the end date. And then of course we got Real Estate. If you are building a real estate website on HubSpot, this is the app you need. It's like Zillow in a box. It integrates with MLS systems. It integrates, with custom objects inside of HubSpot. It brings in listings. We have this whole save serve functionality. It is super, super cool. Anyway, there's that. And of course, guys, if you need things for your head, up here, right? If you just go to shop.maxjacobcohen.com, don't forget, I sell some hats, right? RevOps battle helmets for Zoom battle helmets. I don't know. Whatever you want. We've got some awesome stuff here for every member of your RevOps squad, whether they're RevOps goats, RevOps wizards, RevOps goblins. If you're just on straight goblin mode using HubSpot. For our sales teams, hey, sales directors, I'm looking at you. This is the best possible gift that you can get your sales team to let them know that they run the streets of closed won city, right? Got a bunch of different things from snapbacks to dad hats to beanies to more snapbacks and just different styles because, snapbacks kind of my thing. If you're a RevOps god and you're on that level too, we've got trucker hats, we got snapbacks, we got cuff beanies. And of course, if you're looking just for a couple little goofy little memes on your head, we've got belugas and narwhals together. Flywheel go brrr. And of course, why put on your sales hat when you can put your pre-sales hat on? This is a must-have for any of you solutions engineers out there, right? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time. That was super fun. Thank you again to Chris for hopping on out of nowhere to come hang out and talk about some of the coolest updates I've seen to HubSpot in a long time. I will see you all at Inbound. If I have time, maybe I'll try to do a show on Monday. Might be, going crazy, packing stuff and getting everything ready to go. But I'll be out at Inbound on Tuesday. For anyone that wants to meet up during the week, I'll be there the entire week up until Friday. And guys, thanks for popping in. If you want to see us cover anything else on the show, go ahead and drop a comment if you're watching this later. I definitely want to do a lot more to bring other folks from the community, more Hapily partners, more app builders, more HubSpot employees, more HubSpot customers. Whoever wants to come on and ever chop it up and talk about HubSpot, this show is going to be for you guys. And hopefully it's a nice little way that we can continue to give back to the community that we love so much. Yeah. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. And I will see a lot of you next week at Inbound. Thanks, everybody.